What am I, invisible? Shay muttered as she approached the hostess stand. The platinum-blonde 20-year-old with the smooth, plump skin Shay remembered from her own youth had just seated the third party to arrive after she had. The hostess flicked her gaze up. Yes? Just wanted to make sure you haven't forgotten about us. Shay kept her smile warm, knowing better than to tick off the waitstaff. I haven't. The hostess's smile was the barest flash of teeth. She offered no further explanation for the delay before turning her attention back to her screen. Shay bit the inside of her lip and stepped back to where she'd been waiting under a wooden trellis. Green vines snaked around the posts and across the top, tendrils uncoiling in search of purchase. Shay ran her finger along the flowers carved into the wood, reading their story from seed to bloom. Making up their story. Since she was a child, Shay had made up stories. Stories on paper, stories she'd told at the dinner table, stories of worlds she alone seemed able to see. Like with the trellis, the woodworker had done far more than chisel flowers. The carvings spoke of life and growth, then death and legacy, and finally, rebirth. She could read the story as surely as if it had been written with words. But no matter how real the tale felt, she knew it was the result of an overly active imagination. Her parents had indulged it as a young child, praising her creativity. But when Shay's teachers sent notes home about her inattentiveness in class, they'd made it clear that the time for foolishness was over. It was only 2 years ago, when she'd sought help to understand why her outside life seemed put together when both her mind and apartment were always so chaotic, that she'd learned her penchant for daydreaming, inability to perform without the adrenaline of a looming deadline, and overall struggle with executive functioning was due to a raging case of ADHD. Shay's lips curved upward, delighting in the message of the flowers beneath her fingers. The flower blooms in its own time, offering its beauty even if only the sun bears witness. She hadn't stopped reading the stories. She'd only stopped telling them. What's the holdup? Avery, Shay's best friend and client of 20 years, rejoined her after a trip to the restroom. She fluffed her chestnut brown hair. Shay dropped her hand. I think this place has become too hip for us. It had happened before. The pair purposefully chose out-of-the-way venues for their weekly drinks. But invariably, some influencer would get wind of the place. Soon, what had been a laid-back hidden gem became a Hollywood hotspot. Nowhere is too hip for us. Avery's amber eyes lit with a familiar gleam. She sidled closer to the hostess stand and managed to pitch her voice to achieve an under-her-breath effect the hostess was sure to hear.